In the late 13th century, the Byzantine Empire was in decline. Plagued by internal strife and the advancing forces of the Ottoman Turks, Osman I, son of Erçekral, emerged from a modest nomadic tribe in Anatolia to become the leader of a growing principality. Born into the Kai tribe, Osman inherited a small, yet strategically located piece of land near the Byzantine frontier. His early years were marked by struggles against the decaying Byzantine influence. Osman's father had established a stronghold, but it was his son who would take the decisive steps toward an empire. Osman's first clash with the Byzantines. Osman's first significant conflict with the Byzantines occurred around 1300. The Byzantine Empire, already weakened by constant warfare and internal corruption, was unable to defend its borders effectively. Osman, sensing an opportunity, led his forces into Byzantine territory, striking quickly and decisively. The strategic use of light cavalry, familiar with the rugged Anatolian terrain, gave him the upper hand against the Byzantine forces, who were still organized around heavy infantry. This early victory demonstrated Osman's tactical brilliance and set the stage for future campaigns. His victory at this stage wasn't just a military success, it also solidified his reputation among the Turkish tribes, establishing him as a strong leader capable of defeating the Byzantines. The siege of Baphius and the rise of Ottoman power in 1302, Osman I achieved one of his most significant victories at the Battle of Baphius. This was a critical confrontation between Osman's forces and a much larger Byzantine army. The Byzantines, under the command of Nikephoros, the first Komnenos, were well equipped and prepared for battle. However, Osman's use of mobility and the tactical advantage of surprise led to a decisive defeat of the Byzantine forces. Osman's victory allowed him to expand his territory significantly, gaining control of key fortresses and establishing Ottoman rule over the region. This victory not only weakened the Byzantine Empire but also solidified Osman's claim as a formidable military leader. Osman's strategic alliances, while Osman's battles against the Byzantines were crucial to his rise. He also understood the importance of strategic alliances. He formed relationships with neighboring Turkish beyliks, as well as with local Christian leaders, who sought Ottoman protection from the Byzantine Empire. These alliances were essential in strengthening Osman's position. By offering protection to Christian villages and allowing local rulers to maintain their positions, Osman built a coalition that would provide him with both military support and economic stability. His diplomatic acumen helped secure Ottoman territory and allowed him to focus on further military expansion without overextending his resources. The expansion into Byzantine lands, after his success at Baphius, Osman turned his attention to expanding further into Byzantine-controlled lands. He began to take key fortresses along the Byzantine frontier. One by one, his most notable conquest was the city of Skut, which became the foundation of the Ottoman state. As Osman captured more territories, his influence grew, and his military campaigns began to attract more warriors eager to join the Ottoman cause. These Ghazi warriors, motivated by religious zeal and the promise of land and wealth, became a core part of Osman's military machine. Their loyalty and fighting prowess were essential to the success of Osman's campaigns and helped him maintain control over newly acquired territories. Osman's military innovations, Osman I, success in battle, was not just due to sheer force, but also due to his innovative military strategies. One of his key innovations was the use of light cavalry, which allowed his forces to move quickly and strike at vulnerable points in Byzantine defenses. This mobility gave the Ottomans an edge over the more heavily armored Byzantine soldiers, who were slower and less maneuverable. Osman also employed psychological warfare, using surprise and strategic timing to catch his enemies off guard. His forces often attacked at night, or during critical moments when the enemy was least prepared, further enhancing his reputation. Osman's legacy and the path to empire. By the time of Osman's death in 1324, he had laid the groundwork for what would become the Ottoman Empire, his military successes and ability to expand his small principality into a formidable force set the stage for future Ottoman rulers. His son Orhan would inherit a strong and stable state, one that would continue to grow and eventually become a major empire. Osman's battles against the Byzantine Empire, his early successes were pivotal moments that marked the rise of a dynasty. that would dominate much of the eastern Mediterranean for centuries. His name, synonymous with strength, resilience, and vision, would live on as the foundation of the Ottoman legacy. After the triumph at Baphius, Osman's ambitions grew, and he set his sights on Nicaea, a key Byzantine city located near the shores of Lake Iznik. This strategic location was of significant military and symbolic importance, as it had long been a stronghold for the Byzantine Empire. In 1306, Osman launched a siege against Nicaea, seeking to capitalize on the weakening Byzantine defenses. However, the city was well fortified and Osman's forces faced stiff resistance. Undeterred, Osman employed a mix of direct assaults and strategic blockades, making it difficult for the Byzantines to reinforce the city. Despite the long siege, Nicaea held strong for a time, but the continued pressure on the Byzantines slowly turned the tide in Osman's favor. This siege became a turning point, solidifying Osman's reputation as a leader who could overcome the might of the Byzantine Empire through persistence and strategic warfare. The use of fortifications and resource control, Osman's military strategies were not solely based on direct confrontations. He also understood the importance of securing resources and fortifications. As he expanded his territory, he focused on capturing key fortresses and strategically placing his forces to control vital trade routes and agricultural lands. The ability to control water sources, key roads, and agricultural hubs allowed the Ottomans to sustain their growing army while weakening the Byzantine economy. Osman's attention to fortifications ensured that the areas he conquered were defensible and could support future campaigns. This strategic thinking laid the foundation for a state that was not only built on military might, but also on an organized and sustainable system of governance. Osman's diplomacy with the Seljuks and other beyliks, in addition to his military success, Osman also realized the importance of alliances in his quest for power. He cultivated strong relationships with the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum and other neighboring Turkish beyliks, ensuring that he had both military and political support. The Seljuks in particular were vital to Osman's rise, as they provided military expertise and resources. The Seljuk sultans recognized the strategic importance of Osman's principality in the fight against the Byzantine Empire and allowed him to expand his territory without significant interference. Similarly, Osman formed alliances with various other Turkish rulers in Anatolia, which helped secure his borders and provided additional military support when needed. These alliances allowed Osman to focus on expanding into Byzantine lands, while maintaining stability within his own realm. Osman's charitable leadership and support from his people Osman's success was not solely due to his military prowess, but also his ability to lead with compassion and justice. He was known for his fair treatment of the populations he conquered. Unlike many conquerors, Osman did not seek to oppress his Christian subjects. Instead, he allowed them to continue practicing their faith and maintained a system of governance that was inclusive and tolerant. His approach garnered the support of both Muslims and Christians, which helped maintain peace within his growing empire. Osman's leadership style, characterized by fairness and a sense of divine duty, made him beloved by his followers and contributed to the stability of the Ottoman state. His ability to unite people under a common cause was one of the key factors in the early success of the Ottoman Empire. Osman's military reforms and innovations, Osman's leadership, also saw the introduction of several military reforms that would later become hallmarks of the Ottoman Empire. He organized his forces into specialized units, including archers, cavalry, and infantry, each designed to complement the others on the battlefield. The Ghazi's warriors, motivated by religious zeal, played a central role in Osman's campaigns. They were equipped with light armor, allowing them to maneuver quickly and strike fast. Osman also recognized the importance of siege warfare, employing engineers to build siege engines that would help break through Byzantine defenses. These reforms laid the groundwork for the Ottoman military machine that would expand across 3 continents in the centuries to come. The fall of the Byzantine Empire's strongholds be the time of Osman's death in 1324. The Byzantine Empire had lost significant territory to the Ottomans. What had once been a powerful empire in control of vast regions was now a shell of its former self, with much of its western territories under Ottoman rule. Osman's early military successes had pushed the Byzantines back to their strongholds in the east. and the Ottoman presence in the Balkans and Anatolia was firmly established. The fall of key Byzantine cities such as Nicaea and Bursa meant that the Ottomans now had a strong foothold in both Europe and Asia. These victories not only weakened Byzantine power, but also set the stage for further expansion under Osman's successors. The legacy of Osman I's military successes and early conquests laid the foundation for an empire that would last for over 600 years. His battles against the Byzantine Empire, while crucial, were only the beginning of the Ottoman rise. Osman's leadership, strategic mind, and diplomatic acumen allowed the Ottomans to transition from a small principality to an empire with global ambitions. His legacy lived on through his son Orhan, who expanded Ottoman territory even further and established the Ottoman Empire as a dominant force in the Middle East, Europe, and beyond. Osman I's early battles and successes proved that even a small, determined force could change the course of history. By the time Osman I passed away in 1324, his military campaigns had severely weakened the Byzantine Empire's influence in Anatolia and the Balkans. The Byzantines, already struggling to maintain control of their territories, were unable to mount a unified resistance against Osman's forces. His early victories, especially at Baphius and Nicaea, dealt a crippling blow to Byzantine morale. The once-proud empire was now reduced to a few key cities. With its territories shrinking year by year, Osman's strategic use of light cavalry and Ghazi warriors combined with his ability to forge alliances gave him the upper hand in his battle against the Byzantines, leading to the fall of many Byzantine cities along the frontier. Osman's sons and the continued expansion of the Ottoman state, Osman's legacy continued through his son, Orhan, who succeeded him in 1326. Under Orhan's leadership, the Ottomans were able to consolidate and expand on the gains that Osman had made. Orhan captured Bursa in 1326, marking the first major Ottoman capital in the region. This city became the economic and cultural heart of the early Ottoman state, and its capture marked a significant shift from being a frontier principality. The Ottomans now held a city of strategic importance. Bursa served as the launching point for further conquests into Byzantine-controlled territories. Under Orhan, the Ottomans became a major regional power. Orhan's expansion into Thrace and the Balkans following the success in Bursa. Orhan expanded into the Balkans, establishing Ottoman presence in Europe. In 1354, Orhan's forces crossed into Europe after a devastating earthquake caused significant damage to the Byzantine city of Gallipoli. Taking advantage of this vulnerability, Orhan's forces moved in, and Gallipoli became the first Ottoman possession in Europe. This marked the beginning of the Ottomans' expansion into southeastern Europe. And by the mid-14th century, the Ottomans had established a strong foothold in the region, with their influence stretching from Anatolia to the Balkans. The rise of the Janissaries and military innovations, one of the key factors in the Ottomans' continued success, was the development of the Janissary Corps, which became the empire's elite military unit. The Janissaries were originally formed by the Devshirme system, where Christian boys from the Balkans were taken, converted to Islam, and trained as soldiers. They were disciplined, highly skilled, and loyal only to the Sultan. This elite force became instrumental in the expansion of the Ottoman state. The Janissaries' effectiveness was further amplified by the Ottomans' military innovations, such as the use of cannons and advanced siege techniques. These innovations played a pivotal role in the eventual capture of Constantinople in 1453, almost 150 years after Osman's death. The administrative foundations of the Ottoman Empire, Osman's early success, was not just about military victories. He laid the foundations for a stable and sustainable empire. As the Ottomans expanded their territories, they also developed a system of administrative control that would become a hallmark of the empire. Osman's successors, especially Orhan, began to establish a formal system of taxation and land grants, ensuring that the empire could finance its military campaigns and sustain its growing population. Timur land grants were introduced, where soldiers were given land in exchange for military service. This not only helped to expand the Ottoman military but also ensured loyalty to the Sultan, as soldiers were tied to the land they controlled. Diplomatic strategies and religious tolerance, another key aspect of Osman I's early expansion, was his use of diplomacy alongside military conquest. Osman was able to form alliances with local Christian rulers, promising protection in exchange for loyalty. This diplomacy helped him gain support in conquered regions and minimize resistance. Furthermore, Osman's religious tolerance ensured that Christians, Jews, and Muslims lived together under Ottoman rule. Religious tolerance and protection were part of the Ottoman strategy to build a diverse and stable empire. This policy helped avoid large-scale uprisings and allowed the Ottomans to integrate conquered peoples into their growing state. The legacy of Osman I's early campaigns. Osman I's early battles and campaigns laid the foundation for what would become one of the most powerful and enduring empires in history. His strategic brilliance in both warfare and diplomacy helped create an empire that spanned 3 continents at its height. Osman's leadership style, marked by a mix of military prowess, diplomatic skill, and religious tolerance, created a legacy that his successors would build upon. His ability to unify diverse tribes, both through force and alliance, allowed the Ottomans to expand rapidly and maintain control over vast territories. By the time of his death, Osman had laid the groundwork for an empire that would last for over 600 years. The continuing Ottoman expansion under his successors. The expansion of the Ottoman Empire did not stop with Osman I. His son Orhan and his grandsons, particularly Mehmed II, continued to build on Osman's legacy. Under their leadership, the Ottomans would go on to capture Constantinople in 1453, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of the Ottoman Empire as a major world power. The early battles and strategies employed by Osman I were the first steps toward the creation of an empire that would become one of the most influential and enduring powers in world history.